Okay, great. Okay, just make sure it's all working. Everyone can see me. Hopefully my
You
great.
can tick record at the bottom there on the
Awesome.
taskbar.
All right, cool. We are live. All right. Great. Good day, everybody. I'm joining you live from Marrakesh in Morocco today. So I'm hoping that my Wi-Fi is going to hold up because it did a lovely little disappearing act on me a few minutes ago, which meant we started a bit late. But thank you, everyone, for joining. We've got, a good number of people online today. And yeah, we're going to have a great session. It will last about an hour today. And besides myself giving a little bit of an update, we will have two speakers coming to us from the US, two buyers. So very, very focused today on what sellers, African sellers really need to understand when they're going out to the US. So we've got two US buyers that will join us today. So yeah, first, as mentioned, a little update from my side, and then Charles Kochel from Infinity Blue will join us and give us insight on what retailers want in place before you actually get into the US, what they want to see you have in your hands before even talking to you guys. And then Jim Demarie from Fry Marketing will talk to us about exporting to the US and selling to Walmart specifically, and what Walmart are imposing on people and really requiring from exporters when they come out to the market. So yeah, just a little update from our side to start off. We'll take this very quickly. Conscious that the speakers want to give you some great insight. So from our side, the B2B program is going very well. Just so you know, all the companies are uploaded onto the site. So keep an eye out for that. My team will be emailing you over the next few days during this week. Just to make sure you're happy with what the website looks like, so buyers can start looking at you and assessing your companies. Any information on there that you want change, let us know, we'll change it. But we're just, at the moment, you're up there, but we're just putting your logos and pictures, which is a manual process. So it takes a bit of time, but you'll be ready to go. So please, we have about 35 buyers that have confirmed they're wanting to meet with you. That's so far. We have a target of a lot more than that. But between ourselves and our partner Grow Global in the US, we're getting some really great people coming through to the event. So very exciting in that aspect. Just so you know, we have these numbers are a bit less. 133 manufacturers profiled from across the continent, 35 secured, and about another 40 that are on the go. So by the end of this week, we're looking at about 72, or between 70 and 72, and already lined up about 120 meetings. So it's all looking pretty good. And once all your information is on that website and updated, we're going to be seeing a lot more of these buyers confirmed, because a lot of them are holding back because they want to actually see what products are there, and then the meetings will start really flowing. Just a quick update as well. Remember the team. These are people that are going to be in contact with you. So Cindy and Dante are the two key people. So they'll be chatting to you, dropping you emails, making sure that they're knowing what you want. Please feed back to them as quick as you can. Tell them which buyers you're wanting to meet. We got a few emails from different exporters over the last few days saying, what about this buyer? What about that buyer? Please, ask them, and we will source those buyers for you, chat to them, get them to the event to come and meet with you. I'm doing a lot of hustling on my side with a lot of buyers and programs and targets. And then Florentine, our US partner from Grow Global, is also doing a lot on her side. So you've got a full team really pushing this for you. There's also other people that you don't see here, a whole data team behind there really chasing information on people and connecting out to everyone and anyone that we can. So that's just a reminder of the team. Another thing what we'd love you to do, there's been a couple of connections that have come through to me on LinkedIn, but please do connect with us on LinkedIn. It's such a great platform, and it's so much easier when we get a buyer on LinkedIn and we think about, okay, who can they go to? we do an introduction to you on LinkedIn and connect you there, and then make sure the communication starts flowing. But then we'll do a formal email across to you as well, and just make sure that that was all captured, and we get you going on there. But as mentioned, yeah, shared details, even if it's just a company name, send it over to us. Even better if there's contact details, and we'll follow that up with them as well and get them on board for this program. Great. So yeah, quick update from my side, and we'll go, click straight into our first speaker for today. Charles Kochel comes from as a Managing Director of Infinity Blue Marketplaces. Thanks for joining us today, Charles. So Charles is going to give us some insight into what retailers want in place in the US before considering you. I'm going to prep him with a couple of questions, and then he's going to delve into supporting you guys in this. And yeah, thanks, Charles, for your support on this. We are great to have someone who knows the market so well and has been really involved in helping a lot of companies get into the US over the last few years. So yeah, Charles, do you want to do a little quick intro for yourself, better than I can do, and then we'll get cracking?
Yeah, thank you, Rex. Always a joy to visit with you, and I appreciate the invitation. So again, I'm Charles Kochel, and I'm in Bentonville, Arkansas, USA, which well known as the retail capital of the world, home of Walmart Home Office, Tyson Foods, J.B. Hunt, University of Arkansas, which is the top supply chain program in the world. So we're engulfed in retail every day. We eat it, we drink it, we dream about it. It's what we do. But my company, Infinity Blue Group, is out of London, England, and we are Infinity Blue North America. So our scope is wide. I am the CEO of North America, handling the USA, Canada, and Mexico. But what we do is really identify the best marketplace to maximize your ROI and start expanding those points of revenue. We do everything from manage it, grow it, and provide the retail enablement to make it happen. So thanks for the invitation, Rex.
Awesome. Thanks, Charles. So Charles, just yeah, first question. Just tell me a little bit about the retail market evolution in the US over the past few years.
Oh, wow. The past few years has been a revolution, but going way back, the retail landscape in not only the United States, around the world, has truly evolved from retailers having total control to shoppers having total control. Say 100 years ago, a century ago, shoppers would go to one store or a few stores in the bigger communities, but there was one store available, and they purchased this a 50-pound or 22-kilogram sack of flour because that's the only thing they offered. There wasn't a choice. In the late 1950s, a grocery store in Memphis, Tennessee, in the USA, named Piggly Wiggly, offered the very first assortment. Now you could choose the size, the brand, or even the type of flour that fits your needs, that you want and that you need. In the late 1980s, it was Walmart that created the first supercenter, adding a grocery, and this allowed shoppers to really have a one-stop shop for most of their shopping needs. In the 90s, sometime in the mid-90s, you had Amazon, which just truly revolutionized the shopping environment by introducing e-commerce or online shopping at scale. But the real revolution, Rex, was in 2020, right? Just 4 years ago, when the COVID pandemic spread worldwide, and this literally forced shoppers to purchase items online, and retailers and sellers that were not up to speed on their digital storefronts in e-commerce practices, they're left scrambling to catch up, and they started quickly losing market share. When the pandemic ended a couple of years later, safety was no longer the issue, right? People were getting back out and going in the stores, but the byproduct of the pandemic, once safety was gone, was convenience. And e-commerce marketplaces have just continued to gain market share. And now the shopper has this endless aisle to choose from a great number of products and retailers. And the retailer is no longer in control. The shopper is. In the United States, and really the rest of the world, it's now a digital first marketplace or a digital first environment. You know, at our company, Infinity Blue, our process is to first listen and learn and understand to the best of our ability what you're trying to accomplish, what your business is trying to accomplish, both short term and long term. This includes goals, objectives, the different risk and reward scenarios of international commerce or global commerce in those different scenarios regarding the decisions that will have to be made. We include conversations about budgets and expected timelines to accomplish your goals. Once we understand where you're trying to go and understand where you are right now, our teams work in partnership with both the seller or the brand, the manufacturer, and the retailer to create one process and one plan to accomplish all your goals and objectives. Our goal is to really provide the resources, the guidance, the direction for retail enablement, that acceleration that I mentioned, the growth. That includes global import, export, logistics, fulfillment, advertising, right? For greater visibility, greater engagement with the shopper. It's truly a massive landscape, and the market is highly, highly competitive. But our teams from around the world will be with our clients every step of the way, and we provide all those resources necessary to not only compete, but to win in the U.S. market or whatever market matters most to you. And truly, there's no opportunity greater that we've seen than selling in the United States of America. The current landscape in the United States, at least from a global perspective, it is that massive opportunity for sellers to create incremental value and a hyper growth for your business. The retail landscape here is undergoing a significant transformation, driven by shifts in consumer behavior and technology advancements, socioeconomic factors that are somewhat out of our control. The traditional brick and mortar stores continue to face challenges, and I know my friend and colleague Jim Demery is an expert in that, and we'll touch on that also. But from an e-commerce giants like Amazon and Walmart, leading to store closures if they're not caught up and if they're not keeping up with the times, they're reevaluating their business models. However, many of the retailers are adapting by enhancing their online presence, investing in a digital first omni-commerce, these strategies, and prioritizing customer experience to stay competitive. Some of the trends, sustainability, ethical consumption, that they're both gaining traction from shoppers. Different generations just care more about that. That's influencing the purchasing decisions and prompting retailers to adopt a more eco-friendly practice. Additionally, after the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really accelerated the adoption of online shopping and contactless payments, while also highlighting the importance of safety measures in physical stores. Overall, I would say that the retail landscape is dynamic with a focus on innovation, convenience, and sustainability to meet these evolving consumer demands.
So with all this digitization happening and all these new online stores happening, are you seeing a lot more fulfillment centers opening, and are they getting simpler to work with? Because I mean, fulfillment centers are always quite a difficult thing to line up, costly to get started.
You know, Rex, there's a lot of opportunities that we're looking at right now. And we'll focus on the US, but we have a huge, diverse consumer base. The US market is offering a vast and diverse consumer base with varied preferences, you know, providing different opportunities for niche products and specialized services, right? Looking for uniqueness and the opportunity to thrive there. E-commerce growth is another great opportunity. The rapid growth of e-commerce just presents this significant opportunity, especially for small to medium enterprises, if you will, to reach customers nationwide without the need for the physical storefronts, reducing the entry barriers and the overhead cost that exist with doing everything right up front. Innovation and a unique differentiation where you can leverage innovation and unique selling propositions to differentiate yourself in a really crowded marketplace, with a goal to attract consumers looking for novel products and experiences, and gaining that to earning that engagement for them, inspiring them to want to learn more about your product or your service. So some other opportunities, partnerships and collaborations. What we're seeing a lot of this in the United States, collaborating with larger retailers and marketplaces or distributors that can provide access to wider distribution networks and increased visibility, helping them reach more customers efficiently and doing that in a more efficient and effective way. Another opportunity is a localized type of marketing, really a targeted and localized marketing efforts that can resonate really well with US consumers, allowing these small to mid-cap enterprises to establish a strong brand presence in specific regions or communities. So that's some of the opportunities, Rex, that's out there. But with that said, there's also some challenges, right? It's not, oh, we're going in the US, this giant market, you know, we're going to make millions of dollars. If you just set it and forget it, it's not going to work, right? There's always work to be done in a continuous improvement type environment. But some of the challenges, Rex, I would say market saturation or competition, right? The US market is highly competitive with numerous established brands, the Unilevers, the Procter & Gamble's, Coca-Cola's, Nike, Clorox, just some wonderful, great brands out there that you're competing with. And these established brands and retailers are vying for consumer attention just like we are. So a lot of the smaller mid-caps may struggle to stand out amidst larger competitors, but that doesn't mean that there are unique strategies to be able to slip in and get your product in front of millions and millions of customers that are interested in what you do. Regulatory compliance it's always changing, right? Navigating these complex regulations and compliance requirements at the federal, the state, the local levels, it can be challenging, especially for the smaller to mid caps, and we're here to help with that. But for those unfamiliar with U.S. business laws and standards, it can be a bit daunting and scary. But we can help with that. I know Jim's team can help with that also. So we'll guide and direct all the way. A few other challenges that you might see, it's supply chain, right? We saw in the pandemic a massive pileup of supply chain, and in the U.S. we're running out of toilet paper, we're running out of milk and bread every time it storms outside. So that supply chain issues and managing that supply chain, the logistics, including sourcing the raw materials, manufacturing, distribution, it can be complex. It can be costly, particular for these small to mid caps with limited resources and negotiating power. That's why we learn up front, right? The goals, the objectives, the risk reward we talked about, the budgets and the timelines. That's why we want to learn all that up front. But it can be difficult with a limited number of resources and negotiating power. Brand awareness and trust coming into the United States, building that brand awareness and gaining consumer trust in a new market, it can take time and it can take an investment. The small to mids may face some skepticism from U.S. consumers unfamiliar with their products and brand reputation. So we're really building a brand from the ground up. Financial constraints, we see this a lot from small to mid cap. That first 90 days is really building it out. So we're not getting sales for that first 90 to 120 days while we build out the digital storefront, the optimization, the content, the A+ content as we call it, which is title, description, long description, short description, the attributes, the images, the whatever rich content that fits your product. But it's assessing capital for market entry and expansion and marketing efforts. It can be difficult, especially if traditional financing options are limited or expensive. We do partner with Santander Bank. We're hoping to confirm, but working in partnership with Santander that is confirmed, and MasterCard to help simplify and streamline this process. But it can be expensive, but we'll help brands and manufacturers understand that. We run an analysis prior to onboarding that will help you understand kind of the size of the prize, if you will. What's that medium category look like for your product, and what you're selling at certain retailers at certain parts of the world, so you can somewhat get a snapshot of what to expect in the first six to 9 months. But while the U.S. retail market offers significant opportunities, navigating the challenge really requires a careful planning, strategic partnerships, like myself and Jim that work together because we have two totally different expertise, and a very thorough understanding of the U.S. consumer preferences and market dynamics. So Rex, that's kind of an overlook of how we've evolved over time, where we're at right now, the opportunities and the challenges that sellers will face. But that's why people like myself and my teams around the world and Jim and his team, that's why we exist. We're here for guidance. We're here for direction. We're here to listen. We're here to learn, and together create that roadmap of how do we get from point A to point B, minimizing the different ups and downs of market cycles and and trends and everything else that comes along with it. Two great questions, Rex. I appreciate the time, and anyone can look me up on LinkedIn too. I'm readily available. You can ask me anything. I have no boundaries. I'm totally transparent. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer and probably call Jim because he's a lot smarter at that stuff than I am. But I appreciate the time and the partnership with Catalyze. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Charles. We have actually two questions. One question about, do you see improvement in the frozen e-commerce solutions? Is that happening?
Absolutely. Yeah. Frozen e-commerce is. I want to step back from this question because this is something I didn't cover. My team at least, we're not looking at in-store versus online anymore. We don't care if it's in-store or online because where the world is going is omni, meaning all encompassing, right? An easy way to identify omni is or omni-commerce, omni-channel is the shopper's ability to purchase what they want, when they want, on any device, and have it delivered where and when they want. That goes back to the shopper having control. So I do see as technology increases and innovation continues to move forward, I do see a huge opportunity in frozen e-com. But places like Walmart, we have pickup and we have delivery, right? That's where the home run is right now because people love the convenience of not only I can order from a Walmart and have dinner, dinner to cook delivered to me while I'm still at work driving home. I get there and now this frozen, meal, let's say Asian noodles, is delivered to my house. I put it in there. My kids are home because it's chaos around here. So that convenience and that streamlining is a trend. I do see a huge opportunity there. Certain parts of the United States and certain parts of the world will adopt that better because we have to have the technology for frozen to keep it frozen. It exists now, but how expensive is it? What's the ROI on that and where is it best? That's a great question, and feel free to email me or look me up on LinkedIn and I can send some resources to help you evaluate that, or we can run an analysis for you on the category and certain peer products or competitive products that will help you see the numbers.
Okay, awesome. And we've got one final quick question here, just from Fred saying, from a logistic point of view, what is more important to the US retailers these days? Is it just in time again, or is it just in case?
Just in time. Our patience is running out. We have 1 to 3 seconds to really engage a shopper. If it's 3 minutes late, they're upset. And when it comes to the seller and the retailer, things like being on time and having your product in full, you get bonused and rewarded if you do it well. You get penalized and hand slapped if you don't do it well. Both are very important, but I think the on time, because of the complexity of fulfillment and logistics, is so important to get it right. We call it from seed to shelf, right? If we take a rice seed and plant the seed, how many hands does it have to touch to grow it, harvest it, dry it, package it, ship it, put it on shelf, we buy it, and now I'm serving rice for dinner to my family, and it only cost $1.31, right? There's no room to make a mistake in the process. So they're both very important, but I think on time is certainly a priority for everyone in the US right now.
Great. Thanks, Charles. So thank you very much for your time. We will see you in New York in a few weeks. Looking forward to meeting, and everybody here, keep an eye out for Charles walking around and the meetings that we're going to be setting for him. He's going to be also looking at which companies he's wanting to meet as we go. A little request from our side while we're switching over to Jim presenting. We are trying to capture who is on the call with us today. This does become very hard. So I would like it if you, I'm just going to share my screen here, and you'll see if you go onto participants and you click down here, you can go there and it asks you to change your name, and you can rename yourself. You won't see make host or make co-host, but you'll see rename. If you could all just rename yourself, and again, just put your first name and company name, or first and last and company name, that would be great. It just helps us capturing everybody who's joined us today. But yeah, thank you very much, Charles. Jim, can we see you? Can you put your camera on? There he comes. How are you doing?
I should be there somewhere. Hey, guys.
Thanks for joining in. Can you share your slide while I just do a little intro?
Jim.
So Jim is coming to us from Fry Marketing today. Yeah, he's been working with Walmart for many, many years, and is going to give us a real good idea of how to get into one of the giants in the US, and what the steps are needed to get into those. So really having everything in place to get onto that. So thanks for joining us today, Jim. Are you still yeah, we still need you to share your slides. I don't know if they haven't come through yet.
How's that? Does that work?
It hasn't come through, no.
Okay, give me 1 second. Share screen. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
it's
just
not
while
showing yet.
Jim's
Should
doing that,
be.
everyone, if you can try change your name. Let's try and change that so we
Okay,
can
we
just
tried
capture.
this
Otherwise,
before.
my team are going to be messaging. Did work just now when we tried it.
Okay, it is not. We just tried this before and it worked fine. So let's try one more thing. And
if not, I
can
can
you
share it on my
can you
side.
see that by chance?
No, it's not working. Do you want me to share it off my side?
Yeah,
Jim?
if you can, it'd be great. Oh,
Can you just-
okay. I think we're in now. I think I'm good now.
Yep.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, that's coming through now. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, good.
Just give it a yeah, there, perfect. Great. Great.
Okay,
So I'm
good.
going to hand
We-
over to you, Jim. Take it away. And please, everyone, remember to ask questions. We'll take them at the end of Jim's presentation, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Rex and team, I really appreciate the opportunity here. And I appreciate everybody taking time this afternoon or morning, wherever you may be located, to give me an opportunity to talk a little bit about what I've learned over the last 25 years. I've had my company, FRI Marketing. Most of that time has been here in Bentonville, Arkansas. And so basically what we have done over the years is we kind of scour the planet to find new and innovative products for retail, and most specifically Walmart and Sam's Club to get them on the shelf. So what Charles does with the endless shelf with omnichannel and .com is that he can sell anything, anywhere, basically anytime. But what I have is a little bit more concentrated focus of taking a product that's made somewhere in the world and doing our very best to get it on the shelf at Walmart. So it's much more concentrated opportunity. But if you are one of those people that is lucky enough to get through all that process, that's what we do. We help suppliers go through the steps that they're needing to get their product on the shelf and hopefully keep it on there. So I wanted to really just start with a quote that my father had told me years ago. He said, "An overnight success usually takes about 15 years." So it's not an easy task, but to actually get it done and grow your company. But I believe that Walmart is one of those key components. If you can get your product in there, which it's not easy. It's kind of a long ball to try to get that done. But if you have something that's unique enough, and then if you have had an opportunity to research your product and how it fares with other products that are either on Walmart.com or Sam's.com, and you can compete, then there's always a chance. So one of the other things that's really important and going on right now with Walmart is that they have been as well scouring the planet looking for products because of what has happened with some of the other countries they've been sourcing from for years, and logistics, and so they're looking to other countries. I think they just had a big open call for new suppliers in India. I know they've recently been to Africa and South Africa. So they really focused on globalization and global sourcing. When I first started, I was had started out with Walmart, and I was actually part of that team, and I was tasked with setting up a distribution center for their very first perishable distribution here in the States. And now they have, I think there's over 100 or so of distribution centers, and probably 30 of the perishable distribution centers. But I went to Mexico to do sourcing for them there and distribute to Mexico, and as well import export. So it's a constant change with Walmart. And one of the things that I have seen recently that's changing is the whole social media piece, in which products and companies are embracing to gain awareness of their product and get a following for millennials and Gen X, and whereas they can sell their product and get it on the shelf because it has this awareness and following. And I always use the example of Mr. Beast or Feastables, which I have been in South Africa recently, and saw these massive displays of Feastables or Mr. Beast products. So it is surprising how that venue is increasing the awareness to a lot of products. So that's one thing I would say, as far as working to get your products into the U.S. market. It helps if you have an importer, of course, and we use Rob Room of something South African, and he basically can help get product from Africa he is South African, into the U.S. And from there, then you have to work on the logistics to get it to the various places, that's a part that we will help you do. So I'm
Jim, just
happy to-
on your side, I don't know if your slides are moving across, because we're still on the first slide.
Okay.
You need to move them over. Just make sure you just give it a try.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Okay.
Yeah, it's moving. Yeah, that's better.
All right, let's see if I can move this around. There we go. Yeah, this is just telling a little bit about myself. So yeah, as far as speaking about the products, getting them into Walmart is the social media presence, logistics, already searched out how much it will cost to land product here in the US. The packaging is very important as far as how it's packaged, and that the packaging pops as well. And I did refer to this a minute ago about doing your research of the product that you have that you want to sell to the US or to Walmart, that you have checked on Walmart.com to see what are similar like items that you may be competing against. And then this next piece here really refers to what Charles had spoken about earlier. So yeah, we're going to be much more limited in scope than Charles would be. So I would say the chances of getting your product into the store are low, especially if you're new. Now, if you've been around for a while, we do have a company which I'm sure most everybody knows, that the brand Boss in South Africa and basically in a lot of different countries as well. So we're working with them to get them on the shelves at Walmart. So as you know, they're very somewhat advanced in marketing and their product and distribution. So if you're a startup, it's a higher hill that you'll need to climb. And what we have is we have a questionnaire that we can help you understand some of the things that you may need. We really only focus on food. So we could help you if needed. Just make sure you're up to date on insurance certifications and other requirements that you may need to make sure you have a importer. But really, like Charles was saying as well, we kind of help you navigate through the whole process. There is an opportunity to set up as a vendor. However, it's usually better that somebody has already set up, because it gets extremely complicated with this particular retailer at Walmart, who has 4,600 stores and 600 clubs. If you do have an importer that does have a vendor agreement, it makes things a lot easier. And basically, I just have some more information here on the things that we have done over the years and how we get involved and how we create value, help create value in the buyer's eyes to get you to get your product on the shelf in front of a lot of people. So I just included a couple of pictures here for you to see what is, for those of you that haven't been here. These are clip strips here, and then just products that are on the shelf, the various products that you will be competing with some of your items. And really it's the range of products, as Charles was saying. You would go into a store years ago and you'd have one option or two options, and maybe only one or two options in the stores. Now it's almost limitless of the products that are on the shelf and how they cycle in and out. So the analytics are a big thing for buyers to find out what your sales numbers are. So if you can gain that information from the retailers that you're in, hopefully before we could help you, is you already are selling your product in retail in various stores, retail stores now, and hopefully even other countries as well. So if we can help, I think I've included my information here. I'll leave that up for a minute. You can look at the website and see what we have done and helped people with over the years. And I love South Africa. Hopefully we'll be back this year to meet with some more vendors and see if we can help in any way we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. So, Jim, I got a question here, and maybe this is something that you've experienced in other parts of the world, but we've got, for example, Walmart have a company that they bought out a few years in South Africa called Massmart, and run a couple of different retailers in South Africa and up into Africa. And if there's a question, if you're already in like a Walmart in another part of the world, is that a shoe-in for getting into Walmart USA? Does that help you? Do you know if there is that work between buyers across in different regions that are saying, I've got this great product, really it should get across into the US? I mean, it doesn't have to be Africa's focus. Have you seen that happen in other parts of the world? And I mean, it's a huge drive in Mexico at the moment with Walmart. Have you experienced that?
Have experienced that, and I have not seen that in action. Although I do know that that helps as you are already in the Walmart system with Macro is the chain, or Massmart, Macro now. So it does help if you have been able to do that, but I'm not going to say that it's a shoe in to get your product on the shelf here, because there's so many considerations of that's the thing I was mentioned earlier, is that it's so limited. The space is so limited. But if you have an item that's just blowing out and doing fantastic in Macro, then there's a high possibility that you could get it into the US.
Okay. And how do you know if your company's big enough for something like Walmart? Because there's always this huge worry that, getting into one of the big stores in the US, Costco, Walmart, these guys, that you're never going to actually cope with your capacity. How do you know when's the right time to get across there? We've got someone here, Kyle, who's saying, they listed on Walmart Marketplace and they're discussing with the buying teams, but they're not sure how to position themselves. That makes them feel confident in the ability to meet demand. What's your advice there?
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a great question, because you don't want to bite off more than you can chew, depending on how your item is faring on .com. The buyers more than likely here will always ask you to put your item on Walmart.com first and foremost. So if you have a meeting with a buyer here, they'll always end up saying, we want your item on .com. Now, depending on how many stores you may get, if you are able to come in and get in front of a buyer here and they do have interest in the product, then it's a matter of just running out numbers and finding out what kind of production capacity you have, whether you're co-manufacturing the product or it's your own manufacturer. So there is it's a bit of a tightrope walk, and you don't want to get overextended with one client, of course, because if they pull the plug, then you've ramped up and you've done everything. So to build out your factory, and now you got to find a whole nother client, and there is some concern there. But what we try to do is help suppliers, manufacturers through those scenarios, to make sure that they don't get upside down.
Okay. And then what is your suggestion, but even a step back before you start approaching Walmart? And because obviously they got their first question to you is, okay, where's the product? Is it in the US already? Is it like, how are you going to get it to us? So what's your advice? Do we go along the route of getting a distributor in place first? Or do we go straight to a broker that's going to guide us? Obviously you do need an importer in place just to get your FDA and get yourself set up in the first place. But which is the best, importer, distributor, broker? Which way would you start?
Well, you definitely have to have your importer in place to get your product here, and you definitely have to have all your certifications. I mean, if it's depending on the product, and like I said, we focus mainly on food. We as well do some packaging as well, but food packaging as well. But it's typically the on the food side. So as long as you get your importer in place, and you as well can get your social media straightened out and your strategies on that, then you know, you can reach out to me and I can help analyze where you're at in the process, and a lot of times it is too early.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Have we got any other questions before we round up for the day? Charles, anything you want to chime in before we close out?
Thanks, Jim. Jim has an expertise that's so different than mine. He is highly concentrated, and we work together. He helps me learn about the in-store, and when we get to that place, I can hand it off to him. A lot of the questions that were asked to Jim about the marketplace, you're in Massmart, which is really an umbrella with, say, 7 different retailers underneath. We can help there, right? Because we are an international commerce company, a digital first commerce company. And I was just typing a message here. So the process there, now there's 3 buyers. You have an e-commerce buyer, you have a brick and mortar buyer, and then you have an omni buyer that actually trumps both of those. So we have a process that is digital first. I heard the question about we're in marketplace or US, right? And we're in Massmart. How do we get in store? There is a process there, and I'm happy to provide the resources to help you learn that process. A lot of it comes down to relationship, right? They're not only looking for volume now, they're looking at who is going to partner with Walmart long term and create a long-term relationship and invest in. And if you can prove that you're going to be a good partner and you're investing resources in Walmart and you want to expand globally with Walmart, because right in Omni, they're in the US, Canada, Mexico, Chile. They opened Turkey in August, and South America is positioned to be next. Right? I mean, South Africa. South America is way on down the line. South Africa is poised to be next because of that Massmart. But they're going to create an entire omni commerce atmosphere. They're going to do that to every Walmart around the world, in my opinion. So there is a process to do that. I'm more on the front lines and handle that work. It comes through me when we get to the buyer. I hand that off to Jim and his team because that's where their experience is, and very reputable in the space. But no, feel free to email me any of these questions, and I can find the answer for you.
Awesome. Charles, can you just put on your camera for a minute, and Jim, and then just say a good cheers to both of you. Thanks for everything there. We heard you, Charles. We couldn't see you for the last bit, but
yeah, sorry about that. I didn't want to take Jim's spotlight. He's a lot prettier than me anyway.
Then you both jumped off, and I was thinking, okay, everyone's looking at me.
Where is this guy? Where is this guy?
Who's this voice?
Yeah, right.
But thank you very much, guys, for your time. It was awesome to have you here. We'll do some connections. Please contact us if you wanted to get in contact with Jim for Charles. As mentioned, they'll be joining us at Summer Fancy Food. But even before then, we're starting to do the connections there. So jump on, ask us your questions, get in contact. We'll link you up before, during, and after Summer Fancy Food coming up. So thank you everyone for your time today. Short and sweet. We keep it awesome insight from the US.
Rex, always a pleasure to visit. Thank you.
Get yourself in and start
Yes,
chatting
Rex.
to these out there. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Have a lovely day.
Cheers.
Bye bye.